The sleek diplomatic shuttle accelerates away from the Concorde Central Station, its engines pulsing with a distinctive blue glow that marks human engineering. Inside, Alina's team maintains professional composure until the vessel clears the massive structure's gravity well. Only then do expressions of relief, anxiety, and determination spread across their faces. 8 years, mutters Dr. Sanjay Patel, the delegation's scientific advisor. He removes his formal jacket and loosens his collar. 8 years of watching them pilfer our technology while pretending to teach us basic interstellar physics. Commander Jackson, head of security, runs a detection sweep for the 3rd time. Clean. No tracking devices. The countermeasures worked. He nods to Alina. We're truly alone now, Ambassador. Director. Alina corrects him, accessing a secure terminal. As of this moment, I'm no longer an ambassador. The diplomatic phase has ended. Her fingers dance across the holographic interface, inputting codes that only 5 humans in existence are authorized to use. And please, call me Alina. Formality seems pointless now. The ship's communication officer, Lei Wei, approaches with a tablet. The Vesperi are already spinning the story across Concorde channels. They're claiming we departed in childish anger after making unreasonable demands. She displays headlines from various alien news sources. Primitive humans unable to comprehend galactic politics, and Earth isolates itself in tantrum. Alina smiles faintly. Perfect. Let them underestimate us one last time. The shuttle's pilot calls from the cockpit. Director, we've cleared Concorde sensor range, setting course for the Jupiter Gate. ETA 4 hours. Thank you, Captain. Alina turns to address her team, now gathered in the shuttle's central cabin. These 12 individuals represent humanity's finest minds in diplomacy, science, military strategy, and cultural analysis. For 8 years, they'd presented a carefully crafted image of humanity to the Concorde, slightly naive, technologically curious, and desperately eager for acceptance. It had all been an elaborate performance. I know some of you had reservations about Protocol Prometheus. Alina begins, her voice steady. 8 years of playing the supplicant. 8 years of watching them harvest our oceans, probe our atmosphere, and treat us like clever animals. It wasn't easy. Commander Jackson's expression darkens. The hardest part was restricting our military response after the Ganymede incident. 27 researchers dead in an accidental collision with a Concorde survey vessel. Which is exactly why we're taking this path, Alina responds firmly. The Concorde has 17 member species, thousands of worlds, and millions of warships. We cannot win a conventional war. She activates a holographic display showing Earth's solar system, then expands it to reveal a complex network of hidden installations throughout their local stellar neighborhood. Red markers indicate Concorde observation posts. Blue indicators show human facilities, far more numerous than the Concorde realizes. For 8 years, while we negotiated openly, Operation Shadowfork has been preparing alternatives. Alina highlights several distant star systems where human survey teams have quietly established outposts. The Concorde believes we're contained within our solar system, dependent on their technology and protection. Dr. Patel grins. They don't realize we've been reverse engineering every piece of technology they've shown us, every fragment we've recovered from their accidents, and everything we salvaged from Titan. Alina's expression grows serious. Prometheus isn't just about technological independence. It's about building something better than the Concorde. She brings up images of several alien species designated as pre-spaceflight primitives under Concorde classification. These cultures are being systematically exploited, just as they plan to do with us. They're our potential allies. A chime sounds as the shuttle's quantum communicator activates. Director Ramirez, Alina's superior and one of the architects of humanity's true space policy, appears on screen from his office beneath the Olympus Mons colony on Mars. "Well done, Alina," he says without preamble. The Concorde representatives are exactly as arrogant as our psych profiles predicted. Their surveillance drones followed your shuttle for precisely the expected distance before turning back. Elena nods. They believe we're retreating to lick our wounds, which gives us the time we need. Ramirez's expression is grim yet satisfied. The Jupiter Gate is operational. The Neptune shipyards are ahead of schedule. And most importantly, our diplomatic teams are in position on 7 worlds, ready to offer alternatives to Concord domination. Commander Jackson leans forward, and the defense grid, active as of 3 hours ago, Ramirez confirms. Any Concord vessel approaching Earth will receive 1 warning before the gravity weapons engage. Elena takes a deep breath, feeling the weight of 8 years of careful deception lifting from her shoulders. Humanity had never been the naive newcomers the Concord believed. They had been preparing, learning, and building in secret since the day the surviving researchers returned from Titan with proof of hostile alien presence. So it begins, she says quietly. Not with the war they expect, but with an alternative no one in the Concord has considered. We're not going to fight them for dominance. Dr. Patel completes her thought. We're going to make them irrelevant. Krivek's quarters in the junior analyst's dormitory offer little privacy, but the late work cycle ensures most of his colleagues are either sleeping or engaged in recreation activities. The young Vesperi hunches over his personal data terminal, mandibles clicking nervously as he bypasses yet another security protocol. What began as simple curiosity has become an obsession that could end his career, or worse. The classified files on the Titan incident are fragmentary at best. Most details were purged from official records years ago, but digital shadows remain for those who know where to look. Krivek has spent weeks assembling these fragments, cross-referencing timestamps and location data from seemingly unrelated reports. His third heart flutters anxiously as a notification appears on his screen. Someone has accessed his search history. Another intelligence officer. Internal security. He quickly initiates his prepared countermeasures, routing his connection through 17 different nodes across the Concord information network. Just as he prepares to shut down his terminal, a message appears. Asterisk, you are asking the right questions. Meet me at Observatory Deck C7 in 20 minutes. Come alone, or don't come. This is your only chance. Asterisk. Krivek stares at the message, mandibles frozen in shock. The sender identification shows as System Administrative Override. A high-level security designation. Someone with exceptional clearance is reaching out to him. Is it a trap? Almost certainly. But the mystery of Titan has consumed him, and the humans' sudden withdrawal from the Concord has only intensified his suspicions that something momentous is unfolding. 20 minutes later, Krivek stands nervously on the deserted observatory deck. The transparent ceiling offers a spectacular view of the nebula surrounding Concord Central Station, but he barely notices the swirling cosmic gases illuminated by distant stars. Junior Analyst Krivek, your thoroughness is commendable. He spins around to find an elderly Draveshi emerging from the shadows. The species is known for their longevity and photographic memory. This individual's gray skin and elaborate facial ridges suggest extreme age, perhaps 3 centuries or more. Secretary Voss. Krivek recognizes the Dravashi as a high-ranking member of the Concord Historical Council, a body he hadn't even considered might have relevant information. Former Secretary, the Dravashi corrects gently. I resigned my position this morning after 6 decades of service. My conscience finally outweighed my oath of office. Voss gestures to a secluded seating area, and they both move away from the deck's monitoring devices. From an inner pocket, the Dravashi produces a small device that emits a soft hum. A privacy field generator, military grade and highly illegal for civilians. Your search patterns indicate you've uncovered fragments of the Titan operation. Voss begins without preamble. What you don't know, what almost no one knows, is that it wasn't an isolated incident. The Dravashi produces a memory crystal and places it on the table between them. 37 similar encounters with humans occurred before official first contact. Mining operations, survey missions, even biological sampling expeditions, all carefully concealed, all documented in reports accessible only to the inner council. Krivek's multiple hearts race as he absorbs this revelation. The humans knew about us all along. Not initially, Voss clarifies. The first incidents were genuinely accidental encounters with a pre-FTL civilization. But the Council made a fateful decision. Rather than initiating proper contact protocols, they classified Earth as a resource world to be quietly exploited until the humans achieved spaceflight independently. The Dravashi's large, multifaceted eyes reflect the nebula light as he continues. What the Council failed to recognize was humanity's exceptional ability to adapt and learn. The Titan survivors weren't the first humans to witness Concord activities, merely the first to obtain incontrovertible proof and return with it. Krivek's analytical mind races ahead to the implications. You're suggesting that humans have been preparing for confrontation with the Concord for decades, not years. Precisely. Voss taps the memory crystal. This contains sensor data from observation posts near the Sol system over the past 20 years. Carefully analyzed, it reveals patterns of activity inconsistent with a civilization allegedly confined to its home planet and immediate orbital facilities. The Dravashi leans forward, voice dropping to a whisper. The humans have been building something out there, hidden from our routine scans. Something extensive. Before Krivek can respond, his official communicator chimes with a priority alert. The message is brief and alarming. All junior analysts are being recalled to central operations immediately. The demonstration fleet sent to Sol has returned, or what remains of it. Voss observes Krivek's reaction and nods grimly. It appears the humans have revealed the first of their capabilities. Take the crystal. Continue your investigation. The Concord leadership will attempt to respond with overwhelming force rather than understanding. It's their only approach to unexpected challenges. As Krivek rises to answer the summons, Voss adds one final warning. Be careful whom you trust with your discoveries. Many in the Concord hierarchy have built their careers on the exploitation of primitive species. They won't easily accept that humans have outmaneuvered them. Across the station, in luxury quarters reserved for elite traders, the Nataran silk merchant stares in disbelief at his latest intelligence report. The humans haven't simply withdrawn. They're actively establishing connections with species the Concord has marginalized for centuries. The implications for his trade empire are catastrophic. He activates his secure communication array, bypassing normal channels to reach his most valuable contact. The humans are moving faster than anticipated. Accelerate our contingency plans. Transfer all liquid assets to the secondary accounts. The response comes not as text, but as a visual, a simple Earth symbol, a phoenix rising from flames. The emergency session of the Concord Security Council takes place in a reinforced chamber 20 levels below the main administrative hub. Krivek, despite his junior status, finds himself included due to his extensive research on human behavior patterns, research that senior officials had previously dismissed as irrelevant. Admiral Zhrav paces before the assembled officials, his exoskeleton clicking with each agitated step. The holographic display at the center of the room shows the damaged remnants of his once proud fleet limping into the repair docks. Impossible technology, Zhrav mutters, replaying the encounter footage for the 5th time. The human vessels. Unmarked, sleek and compact compared to Concord dreadnoughts. Executed maneuvers that defied conventional physics. Their weapons didn't destroy our ships. They simply removed them from space. Krivek studies the recording carefully. The blue-white flashes looked familiar somehow, reminiscent of theoretical models he'd seen in the archives. "Sir, if I may," he ventures, causing several senior officials to glare at his presumption. The effect resembles experimental gravity manipulation technology from the Sornath Research Initiative. The room falls silent. The Sornath Initiative had been abandoned 3 centuries earlier after catastrophic test failures. The science had proven too unpredictable, too dangerous, even for theoretical work. "Impossible," declares Chief Scientist Miraleth, her crystalline form shimmering with agitation. The Sornath equations were purged from all databases after the Proxima disaster. Even if humans somehow accessed the basic concepts, the computational requirements for practical application would be beyond their capabilities. Unless, Krivek continues, emboldened by the connection he's making, they approached the problem differently. Human mathematical models often employ nonlinear approaches where we insist on sequential solutions. In the uncomfortable silence that follows, Defense Minister Grathul activates a secure communication panel. We need to know exactly what happened on Titan 17 cycles ago. Not the sanitized report, the actual incident details. An archival officer appears on screen, looking nervous. Minister, those records were classified beyond standard access protocols by direct order of the previous council. Override. Security Exemption Protocol 937. The officer hesitates, then nods. Transmitting to your secure terminals now. The data materializes before each council member. Krivek scrolls through the information with growing horror. The official story: that a mining operation accidentally encountered a human research station was a complete fabrication. The truth was far worse. It had been a deliberate scientific mission to assess human technological development. The Concord team had systematically infiltrated the research station, copied all data, and extracted biological samples from the unsuspecting humans. When 3 researchers discovered the intruders, the Concord team eliminated the witnesses and destroyed the facility to hide the evidence. Except 3 humans had survived. 3 witnesses had made it back to Earth with evidence of not just alien existence, but alien hostility. This changes nothing about our current situation, Admiral Zhirav insists, dismissing the revelation. The humans have revealed military capabilities beyond our intelligence estimates. We must respond with overwhelming force before they expand further. Krivek finds his voice again. Sir, with respect, everything in our human behavioral analysis suggests they're primarily defensive. They haven't attacked Concord worlds, despite clearly having the capability. They issued warnings before disabling your fleet. These aren't the actions of an aggressive species. They're establishing a defensive perimeter, observes Intelligence Director Vasturi, highlighting the pattern of human outposts on the strategic display. Classic containment strategy. They're securing their core territories before any potential conflict. The debate intensifies as tactical options are proposed and dismissed. Through it all, Krivek notices a curious absence. The Tellurian representative, normally present for all security matters, has sent a subordinate instead. As the session concludes with orders to accelerate military readiness across the Concord, Krivek receives a discreet message on his personal communicator. * memory crystal analysis complete. Inconsistencies detected in Tellurian diplomatic communications over past 8 cycles. Linguistic patterns suggest non-Tellurian origin. *. The revelation hits him with stunning clarity. The Tellurians, one of the physically most human-like species in the Concord, had been unusually supportive of human interests in council meetings. Could it be possible? A human operative, genetically modified to pass as Tellurian, operating at the highest levels of the Concord government. As Krivek leaves the chamber, he notices Admiral Zhirav in private conversation with several military commanders. Their expressions are grim, determined. Despite the council's caution, Zhirav appears to be planning something unauthorized. Krivek must decide where his loyalties lie, with the Concord that has cultivated his career, or with the truth that might prevent a catastrophic war. The Exilian diplomatic vessel approaches Earth with a mixture of trepidation and hope. Captain Maraxi, her translucent skin shifting nervously through shades of blue and green, has never encountered humans directly. The Concord educational materials describe them as primitive, volatile, and intellectually limited. Yet the secret communique that brought her fleet here paints a very different picture. Approaching Earth orbital control, her navigation officer announces. Their defense grid has us locked, but they're transmitting welcome protocols. Maraxi stands straighter, adjusting her ceremonial mantle. Respond with gratitude and request docking instructions. The view screen activates, showing a human female with dark skin and close-cropped silver hair. Captain Maraxi, I'm Director Chen. Welcome to Earth. Your timing is fortuitous. Our diplomatic team was preparing to contact your people next week. Maraxi blinks her 4 eyes in surprise. You anticipated our arrival. We've been monitoring Concord communications, Chen replies with a slight smile. When your resource quotas were doubled last month without consultation, we calculated a 78% probability your government would seek alternatives. The Exilian captain feels both unsettled and impressed. These humans are far more perceptive than the Concord has led her people to believe. 6 hours later, Maraxi stands with her science and military advisors in a vast underground facility beneath a landmass humans call Australia. The installation stretches for kilometers in every direction, filled with technology that should be impossible for a species so recently introduced to interstellar travel. The Concord has systematically restricted our technological development for 3 centuries. Chen explains as they tour a manufacturing center where components for gravity manipulation devices are being assembled. They've done the same to your people, to the Dravashi, to the Tellurians, to any species they consider potential competition. Maraxi watches engineers test a propulsion system that makes her fleet's fastest ships look primitive by comparison. Why show us this? Why trust us with your secrets? Chen's expression softens. Because unlike the Concord, we don't believe advancement must come at others' expense. We're offering a genuine alliance, not domination disguised as protection. The human activates a holographic display showing mineral deposits across Exilian territories. The Concord extracts these resources to maintain their technological advantage. They take 90%, leaving your people struggling to develop basic infrastructure. She gestures, and the display shifts to show advanced agricultural systems, medical facilities, and defensive installations. We're offering immediate deployment of these technologies on your worlds. No resource quotas, no cultural assimilation requirements, no military occupation. Maraxi's skin ripples with caution. And what do humans want in return? Partnership, Chen answers simply. Access to the unique biological compounds your oceans produce, obtained sustainably, with fair compensation. And eventually, when you're ready, participation in our defense network. The Exilian delegation confers privately, their skin colors fluctuating through shades of uncertainty and hope. After centuries of Concord subjugation disguised as protection, the humans' offer seems too good to be true. How can we trust that you won't simply replace the Concord as our overlords? Maraxi finally asks. Chen nods, having anticipated the question. You'll notice we haven't asked you to sever ties with the Concord. Keep your options open. Test our technology. Verify our claims. If at any point our actions don't match our words, you're free to withdraw. As the Exilian delegation prepares to depart with samples of human agricultural and medical technology, Maraxi approaches Chen privately. There's something I don't understand. The Concord has thousands of worlds, millions of ships. Even with your impressive technology, you cannot hope to match their numbers. Chen's smile contains mysteries Maraxi cannot decipher. Numbers aren't everything, Captain. Neither is technology. The Concord's greatest weakness is their belief that domination is the only path to security. On Concord Central Station, First Minister Clothax receives the devastating news of the Exilian decision with barely contained fury. Impossible. The primitives have barely mastered orbital mechanics. How could they possibly offer technology advanced enough to tempt the Exilians? The economic minister's response is grim. The humans appear to have been concealing their true capabilities. Intelligence now suggests their withdrawal from negotiations was not an emotional response, but a carefully planned strategic maneuver. Clothax stares at reports flooding in from across the galactic rim. 3 more species have initiated contact with Earth, all seeking alternatives to Concord resource agreements. This cannot stand, he declares, mandibles clicking in agitation. Summon Admiral Giraffe. It's time to demonstrate the consequences of defying the Concorde. The massive installation orbiting in the shadow of Jupiter's moon, Callisto, represents humanity's greatest technological achievement and its most carefully guarded secret. Dr. Elisa Takahashi, lead scientist of Project Prometheus, watches through reinforced observation windows as the heart of the system pulses with controlled gravitational distortions. The fourth gate pair is online, her assistant reports, monitoring streams of data flowing across multiple screens. Connection with Epsilon Eridani stabilized at 98% efficiency. Elisa nods, allowing herself a moment of pride. 8 years ago, when the survivors of the Titan incident brought back fragments of alien technology, she had been among the first scientists to recognize its potential. The Concorde's gravity manipulation technology was centuries beyond human capabilities, but it was based on flawed assumptions and inefficient implementation. They had the right idea but the wrong approach, she explains to Director Chen, who has arrived for the activation ceremony via secure shuttle. The Concorde treats space-time as a fabric to be torn. We instead create harmonic resonances between gravitational fields, like plucking strings on opposite sides of the universe and making them vibrate in sync. Elena Ken studies the massive gate structure with appropriate awe. Each pair of gates creates a stable passage between star systems, allowing instantaneous travel without the enormous energy requirements of conventional faster-than-light drives. How many systems can we connect? She asks. Theoretically. Unlimited, Eliza responds. Practically, we're constrained by construction capacity and deployment logistics. The current network connects 17 systems, with 5 more gates under construction. The technician approaches with a tablet displaying a priority message. Director Admiral Yoshida reports the Concorde intelligence drone has been detected near the Europa facility as anticipated. They're transmitting the modified technical specifications as ordered. Elena smiles. Excellent. Let's make sure our friends at the Concorde receive an appropriately impressive demonstration of our capabilities. Hours later, in a secure conference room aboard Callisto Station, Elena meets with the military and scientific leadership of the Solar Accord, the alliance of Earth and its new partner species. The holographic display shows real-time tracking of Concorde fleet movements near member worlds. Admiral Jarav is consolidating forces near Vespari Prime, reports General Kamathi, Earth's defense coordinator. Intelligence suggests he's preparing a demonstration of force, possibly targeting Ixilian installations. Elena studies the tactical display thoughtfully. They're still underestimating us, despite the encounter at the system boundary. The Concorde's playbook has remained unchanged for centuries. Intimidate, demonstrate overwhelming force, demand compliance. Should we deploy defensive assets to Ixilian space? Asks the Tellurian representative, one of 3 non-humans present at the highest level of Accord leadership. No, Elena decides after a moment's consideration. Let's give Admiral Jarav exactly what he expects, an apparently vulnerable target. When he commits his forces, we'll demonstrate why conventional fleet tactics are obsolete against gravity manipulation technology. The Dravashi scientific liaison, her age evident in her gray-mottled skin, raises a cautionary hand. Director Chen, while our gravitational displacement weapons are effective, they have limitations. The energy requirements increase exponentially with distance and mass. We cannot defend all Accord worlds simultaneously against a coordinated Concorde assault. Elena activates a different display, showing a network of small, stealthed installations positioned throughout Concorde space. You're absolutely right, Doctor, which is why we've been deploying these for the past 5 years. The room falls silent as the implications become clear. Even before formal withdrawal from negotiations, humanity had been quietly ceding Concorde territory with defensive capabilities. Each unit contains a miniaturized gravitational focus point, explains Dr. Takahashi. Individually, they can only affect small targets, perhaps a single ship. But networked together, they can create effects visible across entire star systems. The Exilian military commander, her skin rippling with shades of concern, addresses the obvious ethical question. These weapons could potentially destroy entire worlds. The power to reduce planets to rubble is not how we intend to use them. Alina interrupts firmly. The Prometheus Protocol has never been about revenge or domination. We designed these systems with precise targeting capabilities, specifically to avoid civilian casualties. She zooms the display to show Concord military installations. When Admiral Giraffe makes his move, we won't target his ships or their crews. We'll simply remove key weapon systems, demonstrate that we can neutralize their military capability without bloodshed. General Kimethi looks skeptical. You believe the Concord will respond to restraint with restraint. Their entire culture is built on dominance hierarchies. No, Alina admits, I expect they'll respond with escalation, which is why we need to make our next demonstration so unmistakable that even the most hardened military commander will recognize the futility of conventional warfare against us. As the meeting concludes, Alina remains behind with Dr. Takahashi. Is the special project ready? She asks once they're alone. Takahashi nods grimly. Operation Mirror is prepared. But Alina, are you certain? Once deployed, there's no going back. The Concord leaves us no choice. Alina responds, her expression resolute. They understand only demonstrations of power, so we'll give them one they cannot possibly misinterpret. Ambassador Lorek has spent his entire 137-cycle career in Concord diplomatic service. He has negotiated with methane-breathing hive minds, crystalline entities that experience time backwards, and species that communicate exclusively through bioluminescent patterns. Nothing in his extensive experience has prepared him for the humans. This proposal is unprecedented, he says, carefully maintaining his composure despite his growing unease. The terms Alina Chen has outlined would fundamentally restructure the relationship between the Concord and multiple developing species. The Council cannot possibly accept limitations on resource acquisition rights that have been established for millennia. Alina's expression remains pleasant but unyielding. The Council will accept these terms because the alternative is watching their economic system collapse as more worlds join the Solar Accord. She gestures to the holographic display showing trade routes throughout Concord space. Key nodes are highlighted in red, worlds that have already signed provisional agreements with humanity. 18% of critical resource worlds have already reduced Concord quotas, she continues. Within 3 cycles, that number will reach 30%. Your manufacturing centers on Vesperi Prime will face critical shortages of rarefied elements by the end of this year. Lorek studies her with newfound respect and alarm. The humans have mapped Concord economic vulnerabilities with disturbing precision. You seek to coerce the Concord through economic warfare. We seek to end exploitation through economic reality. Alina corrects him. The Concord's prosperity has always depended on taking disproportionate resources from worlds classified as developing. We're simply offering those worlds an alternative that allows them to retain their resources and develop their own potential. Lorek signals his aides to leave the room, waiting until the door seals before speaking more candidly. Director Chen, I must be direct. There are factions within the Concord military that view your activities as existential threats to our civilization. Admiral Giraffe has assembled a fleet capable of reducing Earth to molten slag. Only the First Minister's caution has prevented immediate military action. Alina seems unsurprised by this revelation. We are aware of Admiral Giraffe's fleet movements. We've chosen not to interfere thus far because military confrontation is not our preferred outcome. Yet you must recognize that your actions leave the Concord little choice, Lorek argues. Our entire economic and political system is predicated on resource hierarchies. The reforms you demand would devastate the prosperity of core worlds. Only temporarily, Alina responds. Our economic models project that a more equitable resource distribution system would actually increase overall productivity across all Concord worlds within 15 cycles. Core worlds would experience short-term disruption but long-term growth. She activates another display showing projected economic trajectories. The current system is unsustainable regardless of our actions. As developing worlds advance technologically, they inevitably demand greater resource retention. The Concord has traditionally responded with military force, creating cycles of rebellion and suppression that waste resources and lives. For the first time in his long career, Lorik finds himself without a diplomatic counter. The human has systematically dismantled every traditional Concord negotiating position. Most disturbing of all, her analysis rings true. He has witnessed the pattern she describes on dozens of worlds throughout his career. "I will convey your proposals to the Council," he finally says, "but I cannot offer hope for their acceptance. The entrenched interests are too powerful, the cultural resistance too ingrained." Elena nods understandingly. "We anticipate rejection. This offer is not our final position, merely the opening of a longer conversation. Regardless of the Council's decision, we will continue building the Solar Accord and accepting new member worlds." As Lorik prepares to depart, Elena offers one final observation. "Ambassador, your personal records indicate you've spent significant time among developing worlds. Your policy recommendations have consistently advocated for more gradual resource quota increases and greater technological sharing." Lorik freezes, alarmed by the implications. These humans have accessed his confidential service record, information secured by the highest Concord encryption protocols. "You're different from most of your colleagues," Elena continues. "You see the flaws in the system you serve. When the Concord leadership rejects our proposal, and they will, remember that there's a place for visionaries like yourself in the new galactic order we're building." As his shuttle departs Earth's atmosphere, Lorik stares at the data crystal containing the human proposals. In all his years of diplomatic service, he has never been offered a personal exit strategy during negotiations. The implications are troubling. The humans aren't merely building an alternative economic system. They're systematically identifying and recruiting dissatisfied individuals throughout Concord hierarchy. "Ambassador." His aide interrupts his thoughts. "We've received a priority communication from Central Station. The Council is convening an emergency session upon our return. Admiral Zhirav has been temporarily relieved of command pending investigation of unauthorized fleet movements." Lorik absorbs this news with growing concern. The diplomatic game has changed in ways the Concord seems ill-equipped to understand. Spectacular failure is spreading rapidly throughout Concord space. "This is not over," Zhirav snarls at the human hologram. "The Concord has faced challenges before. We have overcome every threat to our dominance." Chen's expression finally changes to something resembling pity. "Admiral, you still don't understand. We don't want to dominate the Concord. We simply refuse to be dominated by it. There is a difference." As the hologram fades, Zhirav stares at the tactical display showing his immobilized fleet. For the first time in his long military career, he confronts a force that cannot be overcome through superior firepower or tactical maneuvers. On Earth, Elena receives confirmation that Operation Mirror has succeeded beyond expectations. Admiral Zhirav's fleet has been neutralized without a single casualty on either side. The demonstration of human technological capabilities has been transmitted across Concord communication channels, making it impossible for the Council to conceal or minimize. Phase 1 complete, she informs the Solar Accord leadership gathered in the command center. "Prepare for Phase 2. The Concord Council will be contacting us within hours to request emergency negotiations." The Exilian representative, her skin shifting through patterns of amazement and relief, asks the question on everyone's mind. Will they actually accept the new reality, or will they attempt further military action? Elena's expression grows serious. Some will accept it. Others will require one final demonstration. That's why Operation Lighthouse must proceed as planned. To ensure that even the most stubborn military commanders understand the futility of conventional warfare against gravity manipulation technology. The signing ceremony concludes with a moment of profound symbolism. First Minister Clofax, supreme leader of the Concord for over 70 cycles, and director Elena Chen, architect of humanity's strategic ascendance, pressed their palms against an ancient crystal brought from the Vesperi homeworld. The crystal, traditionally used to signify unbreakable bonds between warring houses, glows with inner light as their hands meet. "Let this mark not an ending, but a beginning," Clothax announces, his voice carrying to representatives from 47 species gathered in Earth's orbital diplomatic center. For too long, the Concord has confused dominance with security, control with stability. The admission sends ripples of astonishment through the gathering. Never before has a First Minister acknowledged fundamental flaws in the Concord's foundational principles. After the formal proceedings conclude, Elena finds herself in a quiet observation lounge overlooking Earth. The blue-green planet turns serenely below, seemingly unchanged by the monumental shifts in galactic politics it has orchestrated. "Admiring your handiwork," Krivek asks, approaching with 2 glasses of human whiskey, now the most sought-after beverage in Concord space. Elena accepts the drink with a smile. The young Vesperi analyst has proven an invaluable bridge between human and Concord perspectives throughout the negotiations. "Hardly my handiwork alone. Thousands of people worked for decades to reach this point. And yet you were the one who walked away from our negotiations 11 months ago," Krivek observes. "The moment that changed everything." "It only appeared to be a beginning," Elena corrects him. In reality, it was the culmination of 17 years of preparation. They watch a solar Accord vessel depart Earth's atmosphere, its gravity drive creating a brief, beautiful distortion in the clouds below. Unlike conventional propulsion systems, the technology leaves no environmental impact, one of many advances humans have incorporated into their designs with an eye toward sustainability. "What I still don't understand," Krivek admits, "is why your people didn't simply use your technological advantage to dominate the Concord. You clearly had the capability." Elena studies the young analyst thoughtfully. His perspective has been shaped by a civilization that understands power only as something to be wielded over others, never shared with them. "Dominance creates resistance," she explains. Throughout human history, empires that relied on military superiority eventually collapsed under their own weight or were overthrown by those they oppressed. We wanted something more sustainable. "Partnership," Krivek says, using the term that appears throughout the new treaties. "Exactly. By sharing technology rather than hoarding it, by uplifting others rather than suppressing them, we create allies rather than subjects." Elena gestures toward Earth. "Our planet spent millennia divided into competing nations. We nearly destroyed ourselves before learning that cooperation yields better outcomes than conquest." A soft chime interrupts their conversation. Elena checks her communication device and smiles. "It appears our final demonstration has succeeded." Krivek looks puzzled. "Final demonstration? The Lighthouse Project?" Elena nods. "Operation Lighthouse, our most ambitious application of gravity manipulation technology. Come, you should see this." She leads him to a secure monitoring station, where several human scientists monitor data streams from deep space. The main display shows an unremarkable star system nearly 40 light-years from Earth. "What am I looking at?" Krivek asks. "Watch," Elena instructs. The display zooms in on a massive installation orbiting the system's outermost planet. Energy signatures pulse through the structure, building to a crescendo that suddenly releases in a brilliant flash. A heartbeat later, a new star appears in the system, not through nuclear fusion or conventional energy generation, but through the controlled manipulation of space-time itself. "We've created a navigational beacon visible across 50,000 light-years," Elena explains. "A lighthouse to guide ships through the darkness between stars. With this network, any vessel, Concord, Accord, or Independent, can safely navigate without expensive proprietary systems." Krivek stares in amazement. "You've just rendered our most profitable monopoly obsolete, and replaced it with something better," Elena adds. "Something available to all species regardless of political affiliation." The implications are staggering. For centuries, the Concorde has controlled interstellar commerce through proprietary navigation systems. Vessels without these systems risked becoming permanently lost in the vast darkness between stars. By creating a universal navigation network, humanity has eliminated one of the Concorde's primary methods of economic control. This wasn't included in the treaty negotiations, Krivec notes, his analytical mind racing ahead to political ramifications. Because it isn't a negotiating point, Elena responds. It's a gift, freely given to all spacefaring species. As they return to the diplomatic reception, Krivec notices the Tellurian representative engaged in conversation with First Minister Clofax. For months, rumors have circulated that the Tellurian might actually be a genetically modified human operative. Watching their interaction now, the subtle body language, the careful phrasing, Krivec suspects the rumors might be true. Your operative is very good, he comments quietly to Elena. If that is indeed what he is. Elena's expression reveals nothing. I couldn't possibly comment on intelligence matters, analyst Krivec. Before they rejoin the main gathering, Krivec asks the question that has puzzled him since the treaty negotiations began. Why include the Concorde at all? With your technology, you could have simply built your own galactic community and left us to stagnate. Elena's answer comes without hesitation. Because isolation breeds fear, and fear leads to conflict. By maintaining connections, even with those who once sought to exploit us, we create possibilities for mutual growth. She gestures toward the diverse gathering of species, many of whom had been bitter enemies just months earlier. This is just the beginning. The real work starts now, building something that serves all species, not just the most powerful ones. As Elena moves to address a group of newly arrived dignitaries, Krivec reflects on the profound transformation he has witnessed. The humans had indeed changed everything, not through superior firepower or technological dominance, but through a fundamentally different understanding of how civilizations might interact. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy's future seems genuinely unpredictable, and infinitely more interesting because of it.